What is going on, Washington fans? It's your boy Josh Taylor. I literally just walked through my door of my apartment, spending some family time tonight. Hopefully, y'all are having a good start to this Christmas week, which is not going as we all planned at the beginning of the season. Obviously, Washington lost to the Eagles. Honestly, a tale of two halves, and it was bad. But it's a short week. You got to move on. We only have 2 more games left, and obviously a short turnaround with the Thursday game on Christmas Day. So just a lot going on with the team. Obviously, there was a ton of news that went on tonight about new signings, some injuries, Jayden Lane going to the IR. It's bad. It's bad. I dropped a mock draft over on A to Z Sports Washington this morning, so check that out, where I had the team trading back with the Bengals, and I won't spoil any picks, but go over and check that out. But y'all be sure to flood the chat. We're going to talk about everything. We'll talk about the Eagles loss. We'll talk about the Cowboys game, what to watch for. Is it even worth watching? Like I said, I'm still catching up on the news from tonight, but they added Shy Tuttle, who's a nose tackle. He's a veteran. He's 30 years old, because Eddie Goldman went to IR. And then let me see if I can refresh my X page. I saved it while I was gone. And they also claimed wide receiver Jamal Agnew, he's a return guy. But with Jayden Lane going to IR, his season's done. And then Sam Cosmi with a concussion, which is kind of weird. He's on IR, so his season is done as well. Just an overall nightmare of just the ending of the season. So you might be spending Christmas with your family watching Josh Johnson play quarterback against the Dallas Cowboys. I am truly sorry to anybody who has tickets to that game. You deserve some free gear on the way out or something. Just overall, terrible, terrible, terrible. So let's get to the chat. Manders Nation, Josh, first time catching a live vid since free agency. Welcome to be back, Manders Nation. It's been a minute. Good to be back. Master Andrew had himself on mute. Definitely can't hear me when you are on mute, but you got that fixed. Amir said, can't believe people are cooking the Tate pick. So, I will say that in my 3-round mock draft, I did have us taking Cardell Tate, wide receiver out of Ohio State, and people are going to hate it, and that's fine. I'm totally with it. But I want people to start to kind of warm up to the idea that it's going to be a long offseason. You have to be okay with talking about being open to the possibility of every position in the first round. Every position, besides like quarterback, obviously, but this team has so many needs. Obviously, tackle's probably out of the equation too. I think they're fine on the offensive line, but defensive end, hell, defensive tackle if Deron Payne's not here next season, like Peter Woods could be a pick. Who knows? Linebacker, if Arvell Reese is your guy. Safety, Caleb Downs. Corner, Monsieur Delane from LSU. Like, you have to be open to anything. Wide receiver, Cardell Tate, Mekhi Lemon, Jordan Tyson. It's you got to be open to it, man. And I tell people, and I was thinking about it today, because this is what I do for a living, man. I dissect this team to a T. I write 25 articles a week. I do 6 or 7 videos a week, and I encourage people to do 2 things. One, I want you to take your blinders off and just scope the entire NFL. Never be too focused on this team to where you are just blinded to everything else going on around you. Don't be so focused on this team to where you don't know how the Rams are ran. You don't know the struggles the Ravens are going through. You don't see how bad the front office is in Cincinnati. To do what I do and to cover this team. And I sometimes I can't help but put the emotional stuff into it because I'm a fan. Y'all know I'm a fan. Born into it, I'm a fan. But you just have to be aware of everything else going on around in the NFL. You can't just be too focused on here. So a lot of people have been mad at me for being critical of Dan Quinn. And I've never once said fire Dan Quinn. I've never once said, he's not the guy. But I'm just saying you have to start being critical and you have to start being accountable. You got to start being accountable. There is a list long of just bad decisions by DQ this season. With the Jayden Daniels injury against the Seahawks, the pulling him, the going against it, the whole, in his press conference when he took over as defensive coordinator, he said, and I quote, "I am taking over as defensive coordinator and all the roles that go with it, everything that entails that role." And he kept Joe Witt, like he just can't let him go. And then the decisions with Jayden Daniels injury down the stretch, the end game decision makings. I mean, you had the ball at the 2-yard line against the Eagles. You're a 4-10 team. You have the ball at the 2-yard line on a free drive to start the game because you got that kickoff fumble that Mikey Sanders still popped out. Cam Madrano picked it up. You had a free drive against your rivals at home at 4-10. You're talking about fighting, and you were this aggressive team last year. And this is before Marcus Mariota got hurt, so I don't want to hear it about, Josh Johnson. This is the first drive of the game. You had the ball at the 2-yard line, and you elected to kick a field goal. I'm just saying, Dan Quinn is not acting the same way that he did last year. And, of course, injuries are the same. But you can't let that, get you off of your stance on how you coach. This team was so aggressive in fourth downs. Even back to the Packers game, there was a lot of decisions like, why did you kick that? Or why didn't you kick this? Or why did you call that timeout? Why did you challenge that play that was already, that review already looked at? Like, why? There's a lot of bad decisions. And, Dan Quinn has said it a couple times. I'll give him, credit for this. He did say yesterday, going back, if I had that second punt back, if I had another try, I would have gone for it. I wouldn't have punted it. And I feel like we've heard that a couple times this season. That's what's so frustrating for me. It's like, why is the end game awareness just not there this season? Like, what changed? What changed? Of course, not having Jayden out there is big. Not having Terry for a majority of the season is big too. But that does not mean you should change your coaching approach into these things. Like, bro, you were a 4-10 team. You have nothing to lose going for it on the 2-yard line against the Eagles to start the game. If you don't get it, they're starting from the 2-yard line. And if you get it, you're up 7-0 to start the game. That is a big right hook in a 4-quarter game. And of course, we didn't know Marcus Mariota was going to get hurt. So it's just, I don't know, man. I feel like it's my job to point these things out. I'm not that rah-rah. When things are good, I'm going to be positive for sure. But things are not going to get better until some of these small details, these questionable things are wrinkled out. So I just want to start this out. I know I've been very vocal about Dan Quinn over the last few weeks, honestly, but especially this past week, I'm just like, man, what are you doing? It just seems like he's checked out. I'm going to be honest with you. It seems like he checked out. And I get it because I'm checked out. But you just can't show that. And I feel like he's shown that many times where he just feels like he's checked out. And that's what I meant by Dan Quinn regrets his decisions. He has said multiple times, I should have took Jayden Daniels out. I regretted that. That was on me. I missed. And like I said yesterday, he's been asked a couple of times about that second punt. You're down 11 points. You got 6 minutes left in the game. And he was asked, why did you punt? You're pretty much just saying, it is what it is. Let's just wrap this game up and go. And he said in his press conference, if I could get that one back, I would go for it. If I could get another try, I would have gone for it. So it's just like, man, fix this on the fly. Call these things on the fly in game because you got nothing to lose. Who cares? Who cares? If you really want to win that game, you are taking the big swings. Dan Campbell would not have hesitated to gone for it on either of those last 2 punts where it was 9 minutes left and 6 minutes left. You're at almost midfield on fourth down. Dan Campbell would have not Jared Goff would not even looked over there to get an answer. He would have been looking over there to get a play. They would have been going for it. So like that's what I want this team to be. I don't care if Tressway is back there throwing the ball. I don't care. Be aggressive. Be confident. But instead, you just like you show the other team, we're just gonna punt it to y'all, man. Like GG's, y'all. Just take it. I know we're down, but we're gonna punt it. And they scored again, and then they went for 2 because why not? And then the brawl happened and the fight happened. So that's just my little rant on Dan Quinn. I know a lot of people have been mad at me. Once again, I still believe in him, but I just feel like this season took a lot out of him, and you just can't show it. You can't show it. Absolutely can't. If Tyler Linderbaum makes it to free agency, you should watch to pick him up. Also, pick Jeremiah Love, please. I feel like Linderbaum got paid not too long ago. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe time is just flying by. But I feel like our offensive line is straight, to be honest with you. I like Tyler Linderbaum, but I feel like our offensive line is straight, to be honest with you. I think we got to put resources up like elsewhere. And then Jeremiah Love, I love Jeremiah Love, no pun intended. I'm going to do an article on this coming up in the next 2 weeks as soon as the season ends. But I really like this free agency class of running backs. I really like it. I really do. And history says that running backs in free agency going to other teams usually works out in a very good way. So I'm not going to spoil that too much, what I'm going to talk about. But I think Jeremiah Love is a special player. He's really good. Josh, we need help on defense. Do we pick best player available on our first pick, or do we trade back to get multiple picks? Obviously, there's a lot of time between now and then, and you have to have somebody willing to trade back. I think that's ideal, though. Like, just thinking of my big board and how I have this draft, laid out and looking at value, and every year is completely different. Let's just say Washington finishes at 6. It depends. I think Dante Moore is a big wild card in all this, but let's just go through the top 5 players. Let's say Dante Moore does declare, because he should. He's a top 5 pick if he does. You got Mendoza, you got Moore, you got Ruben Bain, who's going to be a top 5 pick for some, and then an early second-round pick for some teams. You just don't know. But then you got Jeremiah Love, then you got Caleb Downs. That's the top 5 players. Like, I think that's pretty unanimous. And then you got Arvell Reese is right there. He's probably going to slip because he's got some red flags that people aren't talking about. Who knows? Some people don't some people have him outside the top 15. But then you got Jordan Tyson. Then you got Cardell Tate. You got Peter Woods. So for me, it's like that little second gap after the top 5. I think I'm not saying it's a big drop off, but I think it's a slightly difference. Those top 5 picks, if you have them graded as like a 9.5, you probably have those other guys, Cardell Tate, Tyson. You probably have those around a 9.4, 9.3, 9.2 for some of them. Peter Woods, same thing. But I feel like that little group there is enough to trade back. If you're at 6 and say, like I said, Cincinnati's who I traded back with in my mock draft. Say Cincinnati wants to come up and get Peter Woods because they need some desperate help on their defensive line, and they take him, and you only go back 2 or 3 spots. You can still, I still think Cardell Tate would be there at 8 or 9, depending on where you are, where you finish, and where you trade back to. But if not, I would still love Mekhi Lemon in that spot. And if they decide to go back even more, say 12, like Sonny Styles, maybe it's like a David Bailey, maybe a Cassius Howell in that range. So, I mean, it depends on a lot. But then I'm also looking at if you're getting another pick, say you're getting another top 75 pick that ranges anywhere from 65 to 75. I don't see you getting a pick higher than 65. Just what I've done so far, I love the value that you're getting from picks 65 to 75. I really enjoy those players. I would hate to not be able to get a Kamari Ramsey, to get another top pass rusher like a Zion Young. Let me check out my big board real quick, see who I got there. 65 to 75. Whoa, glitching here. Yeah, I mean, Emmanuel McNeil, Warren, safety out of Toledo. I would love him. Denai Dennis Sutton, Romello Height, Elijah Surratt, absolutely. Eli Stowers, Malik Muhammad, the corner out of Texas. I mean, there's a lot of really good players I love around that range. Jacoby Lane, Jeremy Bernard might be there. He might be a little bit higher, but I really like the value in that 65 to 75 range for me, to be honest with you. So that's what intrigues me about trading back. Like just knowing that there's another starter that could be there if they're able to trade back. I watched the video of Caleb Downs versus Texas and wasn't impressed. What game was he good in? He's good in like every game. In the Texas game, he was actually great, especially at the very end where he's in coverage against that tight end. He got like the stop that ended the game. Caleb Downs is just a phenomenal player. I mean, just honestly pop on any game. Give me Bailey. I do like Bailey. I think he's the best pure pass rusher in the draft. Cowboys have a top offense. Yeah, I see them putting up 40 plus again. We're not picking for luxury. We're picking for need, hint our draft spot. But I mean, if you're being honest, there's a lot more positions that are in need than people want to realize. I think, and that's what I'm saying. Like some people are just so focused on like, oh, I really like this player. I want this player to stick around. Like y'all gotta cut some emotional ties with some of these players. I highly encourage it because do not be surprised if your favorite player is not replaced this offseason in just a couple months. First round, says Dr. Christian, I'm trading back twice if possible and taking best available at that point as we have multiple needs and I want 2027 draft capital. Yeah, it's another great draft. But yeah, I'm definitely taking one in this draft as well. This is the offseason. I believe we go a little younger. I mean, we can't get any older. If that's the case, we're going to be signing Calais Campbell and Cam Jordan. And Josh Johnson's going to be starting at quarterback next year. But good Lord, punt all the time with Josh Johnson at quarterback. That's cowardly coaching, man. I hate that. Let's see. Not being disrespectful, but DQ looks lost out there. Like this team has gotten away from him. Considering our injuries, I'm willing to give him one more season. And I appreciate the players coming out and saying like he hasn't lost the locker room, blah, blah, blah. I love that. That's great. The locker room's together, but the field is not together. Like what they're saying about the locker room is not translating to the field. 12 missed tackles, no pass rush, missing big plays, missing blocks. I mean, I don't know. 12 missed tackles to me does not say that the locker room's playing for Dan Quinn, who's a defensive-minded coach. It's the non-trust in our defense and the ability to stop that the offense are good enough. I fully agree with that too. This is probably the worst defense Washington has ever had, and that's saying something. But you're not wrong, to be honest with you. It's bad. I mean, especially when you go back to that historic stretch against what was it? Chiefs, Lions, Cowboys, Seahawks, or was it Cowboys, Chiefs, Lions, Seahawks, whatever it was. I mean, yeah, that's as bad as it gets. And that's why I'm like, so many people I've like even now, so many people are saying, oh, Dan Quinn should be the defensive play caller still next season and just get another defensive coordinator. First off, no defensive coordinator is going to come here if he's not calling plays. Nobody's going to do that. And this whole keeping Joe Witt thing, that has gotten under my skin more than anything. You know damn well this guy does not belong on the team. So he's just like hiding him up in the press box, protecting him. That like, I hate that. Like, at least Aaron Glenn said, hell no, you're gone. Our defense sucks. They have no interceptions on the season. It's like if they didn't fire that guy, that whole fan base would burn the building down. But like, it's just like it took too long to make the move. And then he didn't really even make the move he said he was going to do. But I'm not okay with Dan Quinn calling the defense next season at all. I'm not okay with it. If that's the case, then make him defensive coordinator and get another head coach. If the Ravens want to fire John Harbaugh, like I'm just saying, y'all. I'm just saying. If Robert Saleh is available, or do you want Dan Quinn or Robert Saleh? Like, give me Robert Saleh. That's a real defensive-minded head coach. And I think the biggest problem is that Dan Quinn just has not adjusted his scheme. And shout out to Mark Bullock. He did a thing on X today showing how teams are exploiting the zone coverage, and it's the same scheme and the same coverage that they have shown all season. Teams just go back and watch the tape and like, well, hell, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the same thing that the Packers did, that the Falcons did, that the Lions did, that the Seahawks did, that the Cowboys did. We are going to do the same thing because they aren't changing a damn thing about it. A damn thing about it. And 75% of the time, it's catching Bobby Wagner out in space in coverage by himself. Just like they did with A.J. Brown. So I'm just, you got to be able to adjust. Like you see a bad result happening over and over and over again. Then you see them play really well against a really bad Miami Dolphins offense. And you're like, oh man, the defense might be fixed. It's not. It's not. You got to break 1 week. So once again, I'm not saying fire DQ, but I'm just saying the inability to adjust and see what's going on and be like, man, we got to make a change. It took him 4 weeks too long to take over the defense from Joe Witt Jr. And to this week, heading into week 17, he has not adjusted his scheme one bit. One bit. We're just now seeing Jordan McGee out there. They play way too many 3 linebacker sets. Like, there's no reason Bobby Wagner is on the field 100% of the time. Let that man get his gold jacket and his bust, and that's fine. But good God, man, this team needs more help than people realize, man. Like, I am concerned about this roster. Do I think they can fix things in one offseason? Yes, because I think Jayden Daniels is that special. I think Jayden Daniels is good enough to mask a lot of other things. You can't just fix this entire roster in one offseason. But I think what Adam Peters did in that second offseason really put this team behind. I think he got a taste of that success and said, we're good where we're at. I'm going to make a couple big swings. I'm going to get Laremy Tunsil. I'm going to get Debo. And then he said, I'm just going to get Will Harris. I'm just going to get Dietrich Wise. I'm, just going to bring back a couple guys and like, let's run it back. But that didn't work. It didn't work. And now look where we are. I think that offseason set us back. But now you got to capitalize, and now you got to pick back up here. Now you got to pick up right here. I like Jeremy talking about Jerm Bernard. Might have played so well that he won't be available when our 3rd round pick comes for sure. Man, I think he did play himself into like a late second. Regrets making decisions. Should he have learned these lessons by now, being this is his second head coaching gig and being in position to closely observe other head coaches for several decades? I mean, for sure. And to be honest with you, he had a lot of these same mistakes in Atlanta. The same thing happened in Atlanta with, taking over the defense and not being able to adjust and stuff like that. Like I said, I love DQ, and if he's keeping the locker room together, cool. But it's got to translate to the field on Sundays or Saturdays or Thursdays, whenever the hell they play, Monday. But we're not seeing it translate to the field. That's what bothers me. And when I say one thing about DQ, and like I said, it's not nothing personal. But I just see too many people being like, oh, but they're injuries, or but what about last season? That was last season. And shout out to Chuck, man. I love Chuck on X. Chuck be smoking the cigars and he be speaking the truth. Like, so many people are just they're not okay with being critical of this team because of how well last season went. If you want to get back to that kind of success, though, you got to hold some people accountable. People like, I'm telling you, and I think AP has been watching off to the side this whole time, and he's just been like, this is not good. This is not good enough. This does not meet the standards of what we set last season. Let's see. Shoot, where was I just at? I think I just scrolled. Amir said, O-line and quarterback are the only positions. There should be no changes, maybe O-line depth. Shuffling if we don't re-sign guys like Chris Paul, which I think they will. I think you'll get Chris Paul cheap. I would like some more depth. Like, maybe they bring Wiley back. Who knows? You got Brandon Coleman as depth. But like Alec Grady, I feel like he's got to be gone. His salary cap is going to be too much to bring him back as a depth guy. But you got to add some more depth guys for sure. It's different when your team shows their ability to get that first down like we did last year. However, this year we have shown that the trust factor is not there performance wise, which I mean is true. Like I said, it's different players out there on offense, but man, you still got to go for it. Like I said, I don't care if it's preseason team out there. I'm still going for it. Still go for it. The best part of the game was the gang of Commanders that jumped on Eagles 56. Yeah, and surprisingly, no one got suspended from that game. There'll be some fines coming down, but I was surprised that didn't happen. And no Eagles helped them. All Commanders just all jumped them. And it looked like, I think Saquon actually pushed a ref off of that tried holding Saquon back. He actually pushed a ref, which no one really talked about. We need weapons at wide receiver and tight end. I do agree, which is why, like I said, people need to start being open to anything in the first round, anything in free agency. And I mean, shoot, tight end. Like I said, if Kyle Pitts is there, someone asked a free agency question. So let me pop this up real quick. 2026 free agents. I look at this all the time. Probably look at this thing like 3 times a day. Spot Track has turned into the worst with ads, by the way. All right, let's see what we got here. Defensive tackles, interior defensive tackles. Let me go to Dr. Christian real quick, and then I'll get back down to Master Andrew. Bailey, defensive end out of Texas Tech, will be top 10 for sure, arguably top 5 after these college playoffs. Yeah, I can't wait to see him against Oregon's offensive line. They got some good tackles. But him and Romello Height, 2 dudes. Bailey, like his size is a little bit concerning to me. Like I think he's just going to be like a purely stand-up guy, which is fine. But man, if like I'm so ready. I'm so ready for the end of January when I'm at the Senior Bowl because this is the best edge rushing group I've ever seen. This is year 6 for me. This is like even like position wise. There's been some really good quarterback classes there. There's been some really good wide receiver groups there. This might be the deepest group of a certain position I've ever seen at the Senior Bowl. And it ends up being like one of Washington's biggest needs. So I feel like there's going to be one day where I'm watching nothing but pass rushers all day. Because there's so many. And I'm so glad Bailey's going. There's a lot of underrated guys going too. So I am pumped for this. But Master Andrew said, can you name some free agent D tackles that we can get to replace Payne if we have to? So there's not a lot, but I will say the ones that I do like, Daquan Jones is probably going to stay in Buffalo. I like John Franklin Myers. I think he's definitely an option. Jair Tart is a guy I liked all last off season. I know George Carmi put out a tweet about him like a week or 2 ago. He's a free agent once again this season. He's short, stocky, but that dude can move people. He can stuff the run. I love Jair Tart. He's one of my favorite players to watch. He's just so much fun. Levi Onwuzurike from the Lions is a guy too. Jalen Phillips is not going to hit free agency. Devontae Wyatt with the Packers. We'll have to see what happens there. Logan Hall, whatever. Benito Jones. Gosh, I feel like there's some older people in here too. I'm good on them, to be honest with you. I feel like there's another 1 or 2 that I saw. Maybe not. Yeah, I feel like Jair Tart's probably my top option, which people are going to be like, who is that? But he's much better than people realize. So yeah, I would say Tart is number 1. I mean, of course, if I can get John Franklin Myers, he's probably going to get $7.5 million a year. Sebastian Joseph is an option. Shelby Harris is just old. God, there's a lot of old D tackles that are in free agency. But yeah, Devontae Wyatt. I'd be shocked if he left Green Bay. I think they definitely got to pay him. But if they don't, then yeah, Devontae Wyatt would be a fantastic ad. So yeah, I would say top threes: John Franklin Myers, Devontae Wyatt, and Tyre Tart. But I'm telling you, man, Tart is such a good guy, such a fun player to watch in that Chargers defense, for sure. But this, to be honest with you, though, everything I've heard, and I agree fully, like early consensus is that defensive tackle is probably the deepest position in the draft. Probably the deepest position in the draft. It is loaded. And then you got guys like Ruben Bain that are talked about might have to move to interior defensive tackle because he's like 6'3", 275 or whatever. But this defensive tackle group is loaded in the draft. So there's a lot of money. Deron Payne is the biggest salary cap hit next offseason. There is no way. There is no way. If you cut Deron Payne, you could sign three valuable starters. Because that first year of their contract's going to be like, let's just say it's like 6-7 mil, whatever, in that first year, which is a decent amount for a 3-year deal. Let's say a 3-year deal. That first year is like a $7 million cap hit. You can get probably three starters if you cut Deron Payne. So yeah, I am 1,000,000% open to replacing Deron Payne. Cut. If you can trade him for a 4th or a 5th, do it. But if not, don't be surprised if he gets the Jonathan Allen treatment. Don't be surprised. One of my favorites of the night, AJ Halsey is a dog for sure. Love AJ Halsey. Once again, I love this safety class. Love this safety class. I think Washington has one of the worst safety rooms in the league. Like one of the worst. This is the draft to get a safety, and I'm pumped. There's just so many I like. Not even just Caleb Downs, AJ Halsey, McNeil Warren. Like I said, Kamari Ramsey's a guy I've talked about a bunch as well. There's so many safeties in this draft where I'm like, please, 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 please. So many. Thoughts on Brazil? Another big dude, deep threat guy, super productive at Tennessee. I haven't fully watched him yet. Just because it's so early, but from what I did see the few Tennessee games I've watched, I mean, he would be an outside like monster. Like that's fine with me. Let me see where I have on our board. Chris Brazil is number 35. 35 right now on our A to Z Sports big board. So you're talking very, very early second round. So probably not in the range for Washington unless they do a major trade back, which I just don't see that happening. Let's see. Here we go. This is a good one. This is a hot topic the last few days too. The Bears and Patriots are flourishing right now with quarterback coach connections that will grow together. It's still early, but I'm not confident that DQ will elevate JD. Does JD need a young offensive mind? The thing is, though, if you want one, it's not going to be in this coaching cycle. There's no offensive minded coaches in this coaching cycle coming up. There's a lot of defensive minded guys. But I think his connection with Cliff is great. Like I feel like Cliff is going to stay. Cliff might get some interviews. I think he'll do 2. I don't see him interviewing back for Arizona. Obviously, that'd be awkward. I think he'll interview with the Giants because they've had him on their list. I could see him interviewing with the Browns once they fire Stefanski, just because like Shedeur and like teams with young quarterbacks are gonna want to. And then maybe like the Raiders, because they're gonna get a quarterback and they're gonna want an offensive minded guy too. And it sounds like Pete Carroll's gonna be gone. So I could see him interviewing there, but if I'm him, those aren't coaching spots I want to take over. Unless you're just hand selecting all of your new players on the Raiders, then sure. The Chiefs are down bad. Chargers are good. The Broncos are good, but like, I just don't know if that's a team I'd want to take over, to be honest with you. So I think the biggest thing is just keeping Cliff and Jayden Daniels together. Then you got David Blau, who's going to be a great quarterback coach. I'm glad he got elevated. Like, people love David Blau around the league. Like, love David Blau. So yeah, like so many people hate Cliff. I said keep Cliff. Like I feel like he comes back. I feel like he comes back. I would love Raheem Morris at defensive coordinator. It writing on the wall says that that's what's going to happen. At probably either him or Jeff Ulbrich, their defensive coordinator at the Falcons, who was with Dan Quinn too. Who else? Highly doubt Pete Carroll would just go over to defensive coordinator. But yeah, I feel like Raheem Morris is probably the number one guy once he gets fired, and he probably definitely will. JT, do you think it was AP that decided on keeping the band together with the older vets, or was it influenced more by DQ and his staff? I mean, I feel like it had to be both. I mean, obviously AP makes the final decisions, but him and DQ, I mean, they've said multiple times they meet pretty much every day. Like every day. I mean, I feel like Dan Quinn loves like his familiar, faces, but I feel like that was big, like to have like the first season, maybe second, but like heading into the third season, it's like you don't need more Zach Ertz, you don't need more Austin like Eckler's, you don't need more like Bobby Wagner's. Like you just gotta get out there and get some new people. But I also feel like AP just had to replace so many people that first off season that he had no choice. We got a super chat by Light. YC2RN. Appreciate the super chat. The commies won't draft Bailey, but get bigger edge like Falk and more. Now the commies must focus on front seven and D and not try to fix everything on D. I do agree with a lot of that. I think, it all starts up front. And I think fixing the defensive line is it should be one of the top priorities. And how long is Dorrance Armstrong going to be out next season? Like, does he start the season with his knee injury? I don't know. I'd be surprised because think about when Sam Cosmi got hurt and he came back late. So you might have to get two starters. Now, can Drake Jackson and Jacob Martin hold down one side while somebody else that you get in the offseason holds down the other? Then okay, like I'm open to that. But it's gotta work and it's gotta be productive. And then when Dorrance Armstrong comes back, then bam, you're at full force again. But I like Keldrick Falk. I know a lot of people hate Keldrick Falk. But when you're looking at size, you're looking at frame, you're looking at the length. Like Keldrick Falk is probably the top edge rusher body wise, in the draft. Like he's a beast, and I'm an Alabama fan, so if I'm talking good about an Auburn player, he's got to be good. Does he have all the stat productions when it comes to like sacks and stuff like that? No, but he's a high floor player for me because you at least know he's going to stop the run at a high level. He's going to stop the run at a high level. But Washington needs someone to get to the quarterback too, which I think Keldrick Falk can do. I think a little bit more, development, stuff like that. I think people are going to be surprised at how much scouts and teams end up liking Keldrick Falk. There's teams that have Keldrick Falk over David Bailey. Like a lot. Like it's not a hot take. Because like sometimes these small pass rushers that are fast and twitchy, they don't really work out in the NFL. Like someone tell me what Mike Green is doing right now for the Ravens? Not a damn thing. And he was one of the most productive pass rushers in a long time. He ain't doing nothing right now. Like and that's another thing I caution people too. Like every now and then you'll get an Aiden Hutchinson, you'll get a Micah Parsons, you'll get a great pass rusher. But then sometimes you're going to get a Mikael Williams. You're going to get a Shamar Stewart. And you're just going to be like, dang, we took this guy where? Imagine drafting an edge rusher at 6. And he's got 3.5 sacks next season. And he's you're just like, man, he's not even stopping the run either. So why did we take this guy at 6 again? So it's going to be a heavy debate this offseason. Who do you take? Where do you take him? Who's the edge rusher that should be here? Why? We're going to talk about arm length, sub 32, sub 33, whatever. It's going to be this offseason is going to be just chaos. There's going to be a lot of debates. And then I'm not even just talking about our fan base, which will absolutely be debating. But just overall, like this draft cycle, there's a lot. I'm telling you, when like Arvell Reese gets under the microscope, when people start talking about Ruben Bain's arms again, and then he has 3 sacks against Texas A&M. When you have all like the pass rushers, I love this group, but there's some triangles, there's some squares, there's some circles. You got to just find out who fits your defense the best, which is why I'm kind of hesitant to talk about it yet, because I still don't know what our defense is going to be. I don't know what our defensive scheme is going to be. What if we just a random right hook out of nowhere and we just hire a defensive coordinator nobody saw coming? Then I got to scrape everything I've done research-wise and get back to the drawing board. So that's why I'm kind of like waiting, because we'll probably hire a defensive coordinator around the end of January. Because that's when we got like Dan Quinn in them. I want to say it was like end of January, because I was at the Senior Bowl when we hired Dan Quinn. So just wait. But there's gonna be a lot of debates. Don't sleep on Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak for sure. I think he's gonna be the only real offensive-minded head coach in this cycle, for sure. Strongly agree with that. I'm glad you said that. Hold on, let me go back up real quick. Let me go this one first. Do I think we can get Jalen Phillips from the Eagles? They just traded for him from the Dolphins. I'm going to say no. Never trade and not pay someone unless they're just terrible. I feel like Phillips has been great. So yeah, I don't see it happen. Do you think Mikey can potentially be on the trade block? No. Not at all. There apparently hasn't been much truth to the Tell Truth Mondays. I'm the only one doing it. And people don't like it. I like DQ, but starting to look similar to Rivera, great coach for character, but doesn't cut it for to be a head coach for the team. My biggest issue is like, where's the development in this team? We have not seen that many young players take a step up. And we've seen multiple players take a step back. What makes Cliff and DQ perfect match is that they both refuse to adjust and change their schemes. They just hate change. Seems like it. How about having real training camp practices? Yeah, this training camp was weird. It was. I told a lot of people it felt weird. It just felt off. I think the whole Terry thing really fucked everything up. Excuse my language. But yeah, really put a damper on it. We need an edge, rush, and linebacker, another corner. So that's where I'm at too, Leon. But are you gonna play Mikey inside or outside? I'm team outside, but then you got to get a good nickel corner. You got to get a feisty nickel corner. So that's where I'm kind of at right now until I see something different. But I mean, I'm open for both. If you can get a Tyreek Woolen in free agency, then yeah, Mikey, you're going back inside. You can go back. You're going back inside. If they draft, let's just say Mansour Delane out of LSU, yeah, Mikey, you're going back inside. But say they draft, just looking later in the draft, say they take Chandler Rivers from Duke. We have him as the 104th player on the draft board. Chandler Rivers, great nickel corner. Then yeah, Mikey, you are staying outside. I love Chandler Rivers, by the way. Him and Pons from Indiana. Great nickel corners. Yeah, D'Angelo Pons, there he is, right near him. Who's another nickel corner I like? I see his outside corners right now. There's not a lot. Oh yeah, Keontae Scott. Keontae Scott, Miami, had a great game against Texas A&M. So for me, it's just like, Are they going to go inside? Or are they going to go outside? I honestly don't think we will know where Mikey's going to play until we see what moves they make. So still a lot going on. Thoughts on Washington wide receiver Denzel Boston? I love Denzel Boston, and I think he doesn't get talked about enough because of some of these other wide receivers, but I think he goes in the top 25. We currently have him listed at 26. He's great. He's phenomenal wide receiver, to be honest with you. I love Boston. I was really high on him going into the season. I would have him. I mean, Chris Bell, we have him at 24, but he's not going to go 24 because of his injury. So Boston's probably going to go somewhere. I would say Boston's probably going to go 20 to 23 range, if I had to guess. Depends on who ends up picking. But then you got guys like Casey Concepcion. You got Chris Brazil. You got Jeremy Bernard, Jacoby Lane. That like late second, early third range of wide receivers is going to be phenomenal. I really like this wide receiver class. I do. Do you think Likely is a possible free agent we could get for sure? I mean, he's on his way out. I mean, he was saying stuff after the game, like saying like we're ass and stuff like this about the team after they lost to the Patriots. But it looks like they're going more towards, I mean, obviously Mark Andrews because they just gave him extension, but then Charlie Kolar is like tight end too now, which is crazy because, I mean, Isaiah Likely looked like he was about to be the guy of the future for them last season. But, I mean, maybe it is just all this hardball stuff. Harbaugh did not run Derrick Henry in the fourth quarter after he scored his second touchdown. He did not get a single carry in the last, 12 and a half minutes of the game? So I don't know. Maybe Harbaugh is just, I don't know, in his head, whatever. I don't know what's going on in Baltimore up there, up the Beltway. But yeah, I mean, I would like Likely. I would like Likely, and I think Likely is a likely option in free agency. I'm gonna try to say that as much as possible. But yeah, I like him a lot. And the most important thing is he went to Coastal Carolina. Sean's up. Let's go. I like Likely. I talked to him at the Senior Bowl bunch. And I was like, yo, Sean's up. I don't think I need class. No. I went to Coastal before he did. Yeah, I don't think I was there when he was there. But yeah, he's a funny dude. Josh, I'm expecting at least 50 articles every day when you're at the Senior Bowl. This is minimum expectation, by the way. Hope this helps. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. I cannot wait. Cannot wait. What's a dream trade you want to see, and what's a realistic trade you think might happen? I mean, dream trade is you are trading Deron Payne. You're freeing yourself up 20 plus mil, whatever it is. I think it's like 26 mil. And you're getting a pick. Like I don't care if it's a fourth or fifth. That for me, that's a dream. I'm not trading any more picks for any more players unless you trade back. Like if you trade back and you get an extra third and we can get like Travon Walker fed third, then sure. But anything else, no. Yeah, I mean, but realistic, that's all I can think of is Deron Payne. Or a trade back in the draft. That's it. I don't think people are calling Washington for trade stuff. I don't think Washington's calling around for players to trade for. Josh, if need I think you meant to say I need either Downs, AJ, or Kamara, or a dude from Oregon. We need safeties facts. You're talking about Dylan Thieneman. Dylan Thieneman's another guy people don't talk about a lot, but he was him and Downs were like one of the best players in college football last year. I think Thieneman's still been great. He just hasn't had nearly as much as hype as he did last season. But yeah, he's still a really good coverage safety. I really like him a lot. In your opinion, what are the odds of Marcus Mariota playing on Christmas? I'm going to say 0. If he just got stitches, I don't think so. I don't think so. Bosky's 82 said we have 0 developmental players compared to other teams around the league. That's a big, big concern for me. Most surprising team this year, I'd say the Ravens, like in a bad way. I think they are surprisingly bad. Like they had a couple injuries and people were like, oh, this is just them. And then they got healthy and they still sucked. So where's McCaffrey? Mike Evans already came back. So what's taking him so long? Yeah, I can't remember what his exact injury was, but I don't think he's coming back. I know Dan Quinn. I think Dan Quinn officially not like shut him down, like put him on IR. But I think he said that him and Amos were just like not likely to come back this season. Amos definitely is not coming back. This year's Mike Green is our Mason Thomas. Maybe from a hype wise. I hope there's no red flags on him though. JT, the Commanders must add 3 new edge rushers this offseason, either in the draft or free agency, like Boye Mafe. I love Boye Mafe too. I will talk about Boye Mafe a lot. A lot. Hopefully the Seahawks let him go. For small edge rushers, I prefer high motor guys like our Mason Thomas over speed guys like Bailey. Yeah, I mean, our Mason Thomas his motor is insane. He's like a V12. Phillips is going to resign. Talking about Jalen Phillips for sure. What round do you think Jacob Rodriguez goes in? I don't think he's going to test well. That's his only issue. But, like, I don't care. We see that, like, every year. We see a linebacker that doesn't test well, but then they play really good football. And I think Jacob Rodriguez is that guy. If I had to guess, he's probably going to make a 4th rounder, which sounds crazy for a guy that was almost, Heisman. Should have been a Heisman contender. So, breaking news, Texas A&M standout wide receiver Casey Concepcion is officially declaring for the draft. So, there we go. Kind of expected that, but now it's official. Where do we even have... I'm trying to see where they even have Jacob Rodriguez on our big board. God, I don't even see him. Ugh, where is he? I don't know. I don't see him. It's probably gonna take me way too long to find him. But I don't see him in like our top 90. So probably 4th or 5th round. Jacob Rodriguez, 119. So 4th round, I'll spot on. Yeah, 4th round. 369, yeah. 4th round. Terry isn't even that good. 0 100-yard games. He's not that guy. I mean, he was hurt for all the season, so. But he's got to stay healthy. No more player coaches as head coach. I agree. I hate it. Mikey needs to play outside for sure. I'm all for BPA, but for me, this team needs a lot of work. I would trade back mid-13s and pick more picks or get more picks. Yeah. I mean, if someone wants to trade with us, cool. We need corners with size, chances at Christian Gonzalez, Joey Porter, Cooper DeJean, Cooley McKinstry, passed on them all. Yeah, that all does hurt, to be honest with you. Would you sign Woolen with to be your number 2 next to Amos if you can? For sure. I love Reek Woolen. And he just doesn't – it's crazy because he plays extremely well, but he doesn't fit the Seahawks scheme. That's been very known. I mean, they were trying to trade him at the trade deadline. But they have so many corners too. But yeah, Tyreek Woolen would be a phenomenal get. I mean, just an athletic freak. I mean, I remember him coming out. Everyone's like, "Holy smokes, this kid is unreal." Harbaugh is checked out. Kind of looks like it. Looks familiar. Hate to say it, but looks familiar. Yeah, I can't even imagine who would be willing to trade for and get Payne. He has a crazy bad contract. Yeah, I mean, if you eat a little bit of it, that's what I'm saying. If you get like a 5th round pick for Payne, eat half the contract. Washington has they literally have $200,000 of dead cap next year. They have 0 dead cap hit next season. So I am totally fine eating dead cap hit on Deron Payne. Totally fine with it. Because they have none. They have none. Like 200,000, I think, and it's Dom Hampton's dead cap hit from his rookie contract. That's it. Like, it's nothing. Rick's Everett says, Josh, do you think Washington make up a 5th in the NFL pick? You talking about finishing up with a top 5 pick? I mean, even if they lose the next 2, there's a chance they only get to 6. I mean, looking at Tankathon right now, the thing that's helping Washington out, though, is that out of all the top 7 teams, which Washington is 7th right now, they have the 2nd lowest strength of schedule, which is great. You want to have the lowest strength of schedule possible. The Browns have a .490, which is 1st. Washington has a .500, and the next team is the Giants with a 0.53. So like, there's a pretty good gap. But Washington's 4-11. The rest of the teams are 3-12 or 2-13. So, I mean, the Giants and the Raiders play each other. So somebody's going to be 3-13. And Washington's probably going to be 4-12 by the time that game's over. And then probably go 4-13 to the Eagles again. So like, that's going to be interesting. That Giants Raiders game, God, that they need to put that on prime time, because that's the game for the number 1 overall pick. But then it just really depends on the Browns, even if they have and it can change. The strength of schedule can obviously change, but if the Browns finish with the same exact record as Washington, then the Browns will have the higher pick. But Jets, Arizona, Tennessee, they need to win one more game. One more game. And Cleveland might. The Steelers aren't going to have DK Metcalf for the next 2 games because he's an idiot. Don't be surprised if the Browns upset the Steelers, and that would be the most Steelers thing that they could do. They do it all the time. And by the way, y'all, we got over 1,000 people watching live right now. So if you are over on anywhere else but YouTube, hop over to YouTube and hit that subscribe and thumbs up button. If you don't mind, help grow the channel even more. Even throughout a bad season, y'all have been awesome. Appreciate all the love and support. And always check out my articles on A2ZSports.com at the Washington Commanders page. But yeah, I mean, there's a path to a top 5 pick. And what the crazy thing is, if we would have lost to the Giants, we would have the number 3 pick right now. The number 3 pick right now. Because Washington would be 3-12. And the Giants would be, I mean, they're going to beat the Raiders. But then you're ahead of Cleveland. You're ahead of all these teams. I mean, God. It's crazy to think they could literally almost have the number 1 overall pick. If they would have lost to the Giants, man. That's insane to think about. But how do the Raiders and Giants have one more? Oh, they don't. I'm tripping. But still, literally Washington could have the number 3 pick right now. With a chance of getting in the top 2, maybe the number 1 pick. But they beat the Giants at the end of the season. If you had, oh man, this is a tough one. If you had to describe the season in one word, what would it be? I'm trying to be nice. I would say waste. I wanted to say failure, which, I mean, that fits it too. But I feel like it's been a waste. I feel like it's been a wash. Like, you didn't learn anything this season. You didn't see your young players like grow. I mean, yeah, like Jordan McGee's playing better than he did to start the season, but like, does he look like Fred Warner, or does he just look like a player that should be where he's at right now? Mikey took a step back. Quan Martin took a step back. Brandon Coleman lost his both starting jobs. Ben Sinnott still really isn't playing much, even after Zach Ertz was injured for the season. Like, Johnny Newton, what is he doing? Jayden was hurt the whole season. Like, there's people questioning Jayden. There's people wanting to trade Jayden. So, yeah, I would screw it. I'm going to say this season was a failure on every level. It just complete shock of compared to what we had last season, man. How will Dallas pay Pickens? Washington needs to give him the bag and get Jayden some help. So that's a big topic going on too. But what they're going to do is they're going to rework Dak's contract. And he already said he would do it. They're going to rework CeeDee Lamb's contract. They're going to release Trayvon Diggs, and they're going to franchise tag George Pickens to make sure he can play for one more season without going crazy. I promise you that's what's going to happen. They might rework Quinnen Williams' contract. They might rework Kenny Clark's contract a little bit, but Dak's contract and CeeDee Lamb's contract will get reworked. They will cut Trevon Diggs and save a ton of money and franchise tag George Pickens. I highly doubt they're going to pay him 3 years, which would be cheaper for next season. Like it's the thing to do. But I think there's just still so many question marks with George Pickens right now. Let's see. We got another super chat. Crispy Apple 38. Do you know if the scouting department / personnel has been overhauled since the AP draft? I think I remember something about AP not being get his guys year one. From what I remember, it's a lot. I don't think it's everybody, but I want to say it's a lot of the same scouts. Because it's been like highly, how do I say this? Like highly respected scouts. I do think he brought a couple new ones, obviously. When you are, with the 49ers, you have certain people, you're not going to just come over here to all new people. But I want to say it was a mix of some new ones. And it was also keeping some of the ones that were here, and it doesn't surprise me because it's like long term. Like there's like a bunch of guys on the staff that have been coached, scouting for like 20 years, like I said, just guys that you're like, oh yeah, he's one of the good ones. We're keeping him around. He's been here for 20, 25 years. He's been scouting the NFL for this long. Like, yeah. That's one thing I learned about like doing the scouting academy is like, there's just some dudes out in the scouting community where it's just like a respect thing. Like you just know they've been doing it for so long. But yeah, good point here. He kept Martin Mayhew. But yeah, I want to say Crispy Apple that for a majority of the scouts, I want to say a lot of them came back, but then he brought some of his own too. So I think it's just like a little mixed crowd of everything. So appreciate the super chat though. Would love to have Tutu Atwell or Romeo Doubs here. I would love Romeo Doubs. Love Romeo Doubs. I'm going to answer a couple more, and then we're going to hop off here before Monday Night Football, and I'm going to get back to some articles before the night is over. JT, I think we have to trade down twice, but realistically, we're trading down once in the draft. I think we have to double up in edge rushers or safety. Also, McNeil Warren, better than Ramsey. Oh. McNeil Warren's bigger than Ramsey. I love McNeil Warren, but just looking at like fit for what Washington needs, I would probably go Kamari Ramsey. And because he can play single high, he can play a free safety. I mean, maybe McNeil Warren can play free safety too, but I feel like for his size, I probably wouldn't want him doing that as much. But he's a freak too. I love McNeil Warren out of Toledo. Awesome, awesome player. Terry done more than most, even with an injury. Glad we have him because without him, we would have no dependable receivers for sure, Katie. Josh, what's your thoughts on Connolly's season so far, and what do you think his ceiling is, Pro Bowl or All-Pro? I think it started bad. He's definitely had some rough stretches, but I think he's also had some really good stretches with some of the hardest tests any rookie tackle will ever have to face. I mean, just the gauntlet he had to go through. But I also want people to realize how young this guy was, like how raw his body was. Pause. Like he can still get so much stronger. I think that's the biggest thing. I like his footwork. I like his speed. I love his athleticism. Like that was one big thing of his coming out is that he can move out in space. You can pull him in the run game. You can do a lot of stuff with him. But I just want to see that core strength. I want to see that just that strength aspect this offseason get better. But like I said, this dude was like 21 when we drafted him. Shoot, he might still be 21. I don't know. But he was just a young cat with a lot of raw potential that still had to be tapped into, which is why I'm glad they had Laremy Tunsil. Because I mean, even Tunsil was like, man, he's going to be so good. He's already a dog, but he's going to be so good. So him just working with Tunsil, man, that is huge. But this offseason, hit that weight room and get that strength up. And I think he can be dangerous. So am I going to say he's an all-pro? I don't know. But I mean, ceiling for a right tackle, I'll say this. I think he could be a Pro Bowler, and I think he can be good enough that, say, 3 years from now when when Laramie Tunsil's gone that he could take over at left tackle, which is like the more premier, unless you're obviously like Tua Tagovailoa and you're a lefty. Obviously, everyone knows that left tackle spot is that more premier position. Right tackle's like, hey, the right tackle. It might not seem that different, but it is. But I'm actually glad that he's working right tackle while he's young. He's getting that experience. He's getting the opportunity to get that strength and we're going to extend Laramie Tunsil's offseason for sure. So you're gonna save some more money there too. Because they already reworked his contract before the season. Or was it like during the season? I think it was during the season. But I'm glad Connolly Jr. is playing that right tackle, and I'm so glad that Laramie Tunsil's here. Even if he did cost a second and a fourth in the draft, I'm so fine with that. But I think Connolly Jr. has the upside if he can get stronger, which 2 years to do so. Plenty of time. I think next season we're going to see JC be at an even higher level. So I can't wait to see it. I am very high on JC. I was surprised by the pick, though. Was surprised. What wide receiver do we get in the offseason and draft? If I had to just shoot out something, Jalen Naylor in the slot and Cardell Tate outside. Or if you really want to go crazy, and I would love this too, let's throw a bag at Alec Pierce on the outside and draft Mekhi Lemon in the slot. Y'all know I love Lemon. Love Lemon. All right, let me get to these last few ones real quick. Like I said, I'm gonna hop up off of here. Pause. Yeah, I had to. You can't say a kid has a raw body and not say pause. It seems criminal to keep scouts from old regime given the record of drafting pre-AP. But I think a lot of that too was Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera's trying to play GM a little too much. You heard him talking about, oh yeah, we want Forbes, we want this, like that's my guy, this, that. I think Rivera did too much in the drafting department. Just joined, so apologies if this has been asked, but do you think Caleb Downs is still there after trading to 9? Man. So for me, he wasn't when I did my mock draft and traded back to 9. But I think realistically, we see this every single draft. Minka Fitzpatrick, Derwin James, Malachi Starks, Kyle Hamilton. We always ping them in the top 10. Like Derwin James and Minka Fitzpatrick were top 10 locks. Didn't happen. Malachi Starks was top 15 lock. Didn't happen. Kyle Hamilton was a top 10, top 7 lock. Didn't happen. We're going to lock Caleb Downs in the top 5 leading up to the draft, and it's not going to happen because position value. But I think position value is a bunch of BS, to be honest with you. Like, value for me is what are you going to do for the defense? Yes, they have to address the defensive line. But Caleb Downs, from just a leader standpoint, coverage standpoint, he doesn't miss tackles. He doesn't give up big plays. He read and reacts on everything. Like if there's a 3rd and 5 play, he will come downhill from up top and tackle him 1 yard short almost every time. Like Caleb Downs, the instincts, he's if this defense looks how I think it will to start the season next year, let's just say they draft Caleb Downs. I think Caleb Downs would be the best defender on the team as a rookie. If Bobby Wagner's not here next season, which he shouldn't be, let's just say they get some corners, they get some edge defenders, whether it's free agency, whether it's the draft, whatever. I think Caleb Downs could seriously be the best defender on a lot of teams. Like Caleb Downs is just a phenomenal player. He is not just I think he's better than what Kyle Hamilton was coming out. I think, God dang, Derwin James was a dog coming out. I think Caleb Downs is I think Caleb Downs is better than Derwin James when he was coming out. Like since his freshman season at Alabama, he has looked like he has been ready to just start in the NFL. I was so mad when we lost him to Ohio State. Like we're like, this dude's gonna be just a phenomenal player. Phenomenal player. And at Alabama, like, I think you saw it more because the defense wasn't nearly as good. But I think now he's, on a loaded Ohio State defense. You got Arvell Reese, you got Sonny Styles, you got, playmakers all over the place on the line, corners, everywhere. And I still think he's getting talked about a ton, but man, he's such a good player. Like Caleb Downs, I'm going to be a fan of his unless he goes somewhere in the NFC East, which would rip my heart out. But man, if he goes somewhere, if he goes to like the Rams, can you imagine if the Rams, who have the Falcons pick, get Caleb Downs at like a 10 or 11? Oh my God, bro. That's what's going to happen too. Teams are going to pass up on Caleb Downs, and then Sean McVay's going to be like, yeah, we'll take him right here. Yeah, well, we just lost both safeties in free agency, Cam Curl and was it Quentin? Is it Quentin Lake or is he the slot? I don't know, but Cam Curl, I don't know if he goes back. They got Cam Kinchins. Yeah, we'll take Caleb Downs. Can you imagine the Rams getting the Falcons pick for that trade up that the Falcons did last draft and then flip it into Caleb freaking Downs? And they might win the Super Bowl. Like, bro, this is the Rams. They haven't had like a first round pick for a long time. And then they got Jared Verse, and then they might get Caleb Downs. Insane. Do we sign Cam Curl back? I don't think so. I don't think that ended well. Got to imagine if we took Durbin instead of Payne. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. That is this franchise even now. Our linebackers core has high upside. I think we should get Devin Lloyd, start McGee, keep Luvu, cut Wagner, and draft another high upside linebacker. And this position will be a strength. I agree. I mean, I think, like I said, going back to like whoever we get a defensive coordinator, they got a lot of decisions to make. Do you want Luvu to come off the edge? Do you want Luvu? Because, I mean, he does struggle out in space sometimes, but he also has been moved around a ton this season. Like, where do you want to play Louisville? Is he going to be your will? Are you going to do a lot more 2 linebacker sets? Because, like I said, right now, Washington does a ton of 3 linebacker sets. Like, the only time Jordan McGee's getting in the game is if it's a 3 linebacker set. So, I mean, they're doing it at least like 15 times a game. But, yeah, Wagner, he got to go. I hate to say it. But I would love, I mean, if Devin Lloyd is there, interception machine, yes, get Devin Lloyd. I would pay a bag for Devin Lloyd. If there's one free agent I would pay a bag for, it's Devin Lloyd. See how much different that Jaguars defense was when he was hurt, and then when he came back, and even before he got hurt. Holy smokes, that's a different team when Devin Lloyd is on the field. Big time playmaker. For sure, I would love Devin Lloyd. But, so, I mean, think about it. Devin Lloyd, McGee, you could extend Luvu, make him cheaper. But like I said, are you rushing him on third downs? But then you got Jacob Martin. Do you bring back Vaughn? Like, early downs, do you feel good with Luvu, who's missing tackles too? So we'll see. All right, last one. I'm gonna hop up off of here. I'm actually do 2 because I see another one I like. What safeties and running backs? God, I actually have not looked at the safeties. Let me look real quick. Kyle Duggar, I'm good. Jalen Thompson with the Cardinals would be phenomenal. He's about to get $13 million a year. He's a really good player. Really good player. Just remember that name, Jalen Thompson from the Cardinals. He's only 27 years old. He's good. Andre Sisco would be cheap. I'm good on Donovan Wilson. Alohi Gilman. Ravens just traded for him, so I'd be surprised. Geno Stone, I'm good. Reed Blankenship, I mean, sure, if they actually would let him leave. Or Darius Washington, just too small for me. Julian Blackman, I'm good. Jaquan Brisker, I like Jay Breezy. Brian Cook, that's a guy. Hold on now. Brian Cook on the Chiefs, he's going to be a little pricey. He's projected to get 14.3 a year, but he's a player. That's a ball player right there. Nick Scott from the Panthers, he's a little bit older, but he's nice. Nick Cross from the Colts. God, he's only 24 still? Dang, he must have come out when he was like 20. But yeah, Nick Cross for the Colts. He's Maryland Turpin. Jalen Jones, Kobe Bryant. Okay, there's actually some nice safeties. Quentin Lake. There's actually 6 or 7 safeties I would not hate at all, but I love this draft class. I like the draft class more. I love the draft class. Running backs. Let me just tell you. Javonte Williams, Travis Etienne, Rico Dowdle, Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, J.K. Dobbins, Kenneth Gainwell, Rashad White, probably the biggest possibility, to be honest with you. Tyler Algier, they got to bring him back. He's a beast. Isaiah Pacheco, I'm good. I mean, yeah, there's a ton. Good God. I mean, just those front free, I mean, it's probably what, 6 or 7. Tyler Algier, Rashad White, who I think is super underrated. J.K. Dobbins, Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall, Rico Dowdle, Javonte Williams, Travis Etienne. That's 8 right there. That's 8 I would be all in for. So there's a lot of good running backs. I tell you what, I'm like locked up in a cage right now, and I'm just dying for these last 2 games to end so I can just go full off-season mode and just, y'all know that's where I thrive. Like I cannot wait to just go full off-season mode. But yeah, we've been live for an hour and almost 20 minutes now. Like I said, we got almost 1,500 people in here right now, which is nuts. For a 4-11 team, that just shows how awesome our fan base is. Appreciate y'all for stopping by, chopping it up. And like I said, make sure you head over to the YouTube channel, hit the thumbs up, and make sure you're subscribed, because if you think the channel's popping now for a 4-11 team, wait till we get to the offseason. Not only will I be at the Senior Bowl doing interviews with players and scouting and dropping all kind of videos and doing intel there, but then we have defensive coordinator options. We have free agency. We have the draft. I'm thinking about going to the draft. It's in Pittsburgh, so you might just see me at the draft too, but we'll see. A lot of time between now and then, but I appreciate y'all for stopping by the live stream. I'll be back. We play Thursday night, so I might just go live Friday night. And because then we got a while until we play again. And then Alabama has their playoff game at the beginning of the year. So, but y'all have a good Christmas. If you watch the game, God bless you. I will be, because it's not only my job, but I'm just that much of a fan. And if you're going to the game, God bless you even more. Like, I pray you at least get a free hoodie or a free beanie or something on the way out, because yeah, if you got tickets beginning of the year, God bless your souls. But I appreciate y'all for stopping by. Like I said, it's crazy. We got almost 1,500 people in here right now talking about this team. But Monday Night Football is coming up right now. 49ers Colts. That's a great game. We'll see what Phillip Rivers got in his second game. But be sure to check out A to Z Sports Washington on atozsports.com. Like I said, I do about 25 articles a week. Sometimes the Alabama articles flow into that 25, but I'm doing about 20 Washington articles a week. So got some more stuff coming out. And then I just had my 3-round mock draft that I dropped this morning that has been popping off. So I appreciate y'all. And checking the updated numbers. Looks good. So y'all be sure to keep checking out that mock draft I posted it on Twitter too, if you follow me on X at Josh Taylor FB. So check that out. But I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good night and a Merry Christmas. And don't let this team ruin your Christmas. Appreciate y'all. Peace.